Okay, recording this video after close trade Wednesday, 19th of October 2011. Hope you had a good day's trading. Recording this video, just want to talk about trend and cycle moves and how we go through these phases of having been in a trend move. We then go through a little bit of kind of cyclical activity and then revert back into a trend mode, because we've got that happening a whole bunch of time frames at the moment, and there was a good kind of setup trade today that I just want to talk you through. But just on the highest time frame charts, here's my 40,500 tip bar chart. We've had this really kind of strong rally into 1220, 1230 kind of levels, and you can see here this move ended. These were trend moves, were pulled back to end of trends, so this move finally kind of gets exhausted a couple of days ago. So once we've had a trend move, we then go through some cyclical activity before we break into another trend move. And so the activity over the last 3 or 4 days has just been moving between these really kind of wide cycle ranges here. And so this is Wednesday's activity. Tuesday we kind of bounced pretty strongly. We topped out at about 12:30. We hung around for quite a while in the morning and then finally broke down, but the activity over these last few days has just been between these real kind of wide swings, support and resistance swings on better sine wave on these high time frames. So we're waiting to find out what the direction of the next trend break is going to be, but you know after a strong trending move or a trending day that there's going to be some kind of congestion, and that's also what we got. Just let me back it down one time frame to the 13,500 just over the last couple of days. So this is the beginning of Wednesday and this is the beginning of Tuesday, and you can see so the rally that we got on Tuesday, pull back to end of trend, nicely signaled at the lows here. Blue professional bars kind of coming in, very weak selling, bullish divergence at this point, and then we kind of take off on Tuesday. Wednesday's activity, again, we top out with an end of trend signal, spend a little time going through a congestion zone here, and then break to a downtrend. 4,500 tip bar chart, exactly the same kind of thing over the last few days. So coming into the low on Tuesday, we had end of trend down here on the 4,500, spend a little time going through some cyclical highs and lows, break into this uptrend on Tuesday, tops out, pull back to end of trend, go through some cyclical activity, and then we break into another downtrend that ends with pull back to end of trend. So I hope you get kind of the picture that after we get these kind of trend moves, shouldn't be expecting a break. I mean, if there's a continuation, we kind of keep on powering through to a second kind of end of trend, we get a continuation of the trend. Yeah, it's fair enough. But if we've exhausted ourselves at this end of trend, you should expect some kind of congestion and cyclical activity after that. So with my trading on Wednesday, I was trying to pick a trend move way too early, and I was trying to look for kind of breakout moves that weren't happening, and there were good little 2 to 3 point trades within these kind of swings going forward, and I was looking for 4+ kind of points on a move, and I shouldn't have been doing that kind of just because this whole pattern, you've got to go through some kind of cyclical activity before breaking into a trend. Well, at this break around here, so I was getting short 21.75 around here, had to sit through a little bit of toing and froing, took a little bit of heat on the trade, about 3 points of heat on the trade, and this finally kind of worked out. But let me just show you kind of how this trade kind of set up on the lower time frame. So 4,500 tip bar chart, I've just superimposed these kind of signals from better momentum that I'm using just to give me a better visual clue as to what's kind of going on. So 4,500, we kind of had topping out activity with exhaustion buying, and we had a bearish divergence signal right on the zero line here. So on the lower time frames it looked particularly weak, so I decided to go short here. So the market initially kind of breaks in my favor, but finds support. Blue professional bar comes in at cyclical support. We test back up, another blue professional bar up here, and you can see the buying gets weaker and weaker. We get a flush signal here, flushing out the last of those buyers at that point. Kind of head back down, whole bunch of blue professional bars seemingly kind of falling through the ice here, kind of getting on board this move, going short. But again, you know, blue professional bar here at support just holds, and then look at this move back up. This is a classic little kind of rising wedge here, and all these amateur up bars coming into this cyclical resistance. Another flush pattern here, another bearish divergence signal right there, right on the resistance line, kind of coming in, and then we finally break at this point, bang, into our strong kind of downtrend, 20-point move, kind of from here to here, all the way down. Now, for me, this was painful. This was 2 hours of sitting through, having gone short here, having sat through all of this kind of backwards and forwards, but it finally broke into this trend move, and so I was able to pick up 6.5 on the way down, and then 1 on a little retrace, and then another 4 on the way down. So, and I was only out at 12.5, and this thing went to 12.02 down at the bottom here. So I was all done with my trades with by here, and this move just continued on down to pull back to end of trend. I'm particularly bad on getting the whole of this move. Once I've got a decent amount out of the trade, I'll just bag out. Now, prior to that, I had 6 points of losses to make up. So from the get-go, from the start, I've been going backwards and forwards trying to find a breakout move in this very congested activity, and ended up kind of down 6 after 7 trades before latching onto this short trade and just holding on for those 2 hours until it finally broke. So that was kind of painful, but it ends up being a good kind of trend move. I suppose this today, the Wednesday, could have gone nowhere. It could have been one of those kind of low range days. But on these higher time frames, we had all this topping out type of activity, 13,000, all this type of stuff. So I thought there was a good chance that we were going to break down somewhat. Now on the lower time frames, let's just go through this kind of setup. But this is a classic kind of setup. You see exhaustion, bearish divergence, and a flush signal, and that little combination there kind of often leads to trend changes. And you see on the reverse going forward here, we've got exhaustion selling, we've got all these bullish divergence patterns coming up here. What I think is going to happen though tomorrow, Thursday morning, these starting to line up. When you see the bullish divergence or bearish divergence patterns kind of lining up in a little bit of a line like this, you usually have a lurch down into a flush signal or a fairly extreme kind of selling signal. So I think there's another leg down in terms of fairly violent selling in order to put a bottom into this trade. Back it out to the 15,500 tip bar chart. So we'd had exhaustion buying, bearish divergence, and a flush signal on this time frame into this move here. I like these flush signals on end of trend, and that's where I was getting short. And then we had a big blue professional bar that was selling this move short. And I thought, well, let's get on top of that, because that's the professionals getting, falling through the ice and getting this move kind of going. We then reached exhaustion selling on the downside and bounced from there, and so this is this kind of fairly painful retrace that I had to sit through that went 3 points against me. But professionals come back in here, little test back up with an amateur up bar, and then we kind of fall away. And then this wedge pattern's a classic. So coming into this retrace, kind of weaker and weaker buying, bearish divergence, this retrace here was just amateur up bars, amateur up bar this way, amateurs kind of leading the way here, professionals step in. These amateur up bars into Rambo patterns right here, very weak buying, just overshoot a little bit resistance at this point, and then bang, these are all the blue professional bars getting on top of this move, breaking through 12.20, and then this thing just kept on going. Pretty sure we finished up with pullback to end of trend on the 1500 tip bar chart. There we go, pullback to end of trend, exhaustion selling down here. Still had a little bit of a ways to go, because the exhaustion selling happened here, not on this move right here, so it still kind of found some more exhaustion selling signals down here. So like I said, I was out at 12.25 on my second trade, and that was only here. So there was a good bit more to be had in this move. And then on the 500 tip bar chart, let me just show you this retrace. So that little retrace pattern here into this these Rambo patterns, this amateur wedge heading back up on the 500 tip bar chart, we ended up with a little pullback to end of trend sequence here that kind of found a bottom, and then we came back in here, and you can see these support and resistance lines here, just a congestion zone. So this is when we don't get a trend move break and it's kind of moving up against the trend. This is a complex correction, and this was actually in a little kind of wedge pattern like this, right into these Rambo patterns here at this point here, bearish divergence close to the zero line, and then we break, bang, into this trend move on the way down. So that's just a little kind of discussion of trend moves moving into cycle moves and then moving into trend moves, and we got it a whole bunch of time frames. We got it happening in terms of the highest time frame tip bar charts here, waiting for this next kind of trend move, and then on the 4,500 tip bar chart, kind of day to day, you can see this. And so the lesson for me was, it was good that I kind of held on for these 2 hours. I was actually on a conference call at the time, which was kind of nice, so I could just not worry about the trade and just look at what was going on. But just to, once you get into a situation, I was trying to take too many trades early on in this congestion zone, and that wasn't working out for me. I should have been taking smaller profit targets and trying to play the ranges rather than waiting for a trend move. But when it finally broke out, that was pointed in the right direction and picked up somewhat on the downside. So there we go. I hope your trading went well. I've got my family coming in at the end of this week on Friday, and so I'm going to be doing less videos over the weekend in the next couple of days, so I just thought I'd get this one out. Hope you're enjoying your trading. Very small point, I'm tagging on those those last couple of trades that I took, but for some reason I'm just whispering into the mic, so I bumped up the volume as much as I could, but I don't know why. I was just acting like a mouse there, so apologies for that. Okay, just gone short 21.75. And this thing just fell apart. So after end of trend on 1500 tip bar chart, we've had exhaustion, bearish divergence, end of trend with a flush. So that was blue professional bar selling this thing short, and a really kind of confused pattern on 500 here, just bouncing backwards and forwards, trying to figure out which way to go. Now I had bearish divergence right on the 0 line here on the 45. On the higher time frames, we're in a downswing on 13,000 and sitting underneath resistance here. Just waiting for this big move today, whatever it's going to be. I suppose, it could easily just be one of those days after a big range yesterday, just congestion phase. So let's see, just bouncing off there, so short 21.75. Okay, a couple of minutes later, just had some blue for a whoa. Okay, right, I'm just moving my target now. I'm moving it to 11.75, way out of the way. Reason for that, okay, blue professional bars, these things seem to catch it, but they were kind of on the way up, and then we broke past a little bit, you can see that. So it was a blue professional up bar. So just using that slight retrace, I think the professionals get short and then they just sold it. Bang, 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 3 bars, 3 blue professional bars here. Exhaustion selling. Minus 7,000, pretty high reading on 1500 tip bar chart, but hopefully we're now into a downtrend after this, kind of rolling over. 13,500, we've also rolled over here, and we're underneath 40,000. So, and this was almost like a testing back up to the tops, up here. So let's see. So if that's right, then this thing's got a fair ways to go. So let's see what I can manage. So still holding short from 21.75. Well, that was a big push. So 19 held down here after exhaustion selling on 500 and 1500, and it just reversed all the way back up. But it's come into 24s, and blue professional bars come back in, and we've got a cyclical resistance coming up on 15. 6,000. This will be some kind of flush or bearish divergence signal on 45 when it goes off. So hopefully it's not going to make a pullback to end of trend on the 500 tip bar chart. That would be painful. Just hoping this is a heck of a big push up and just freaking people out, and the reverse goes all the other way. Let's wait and see though. Well, back down to entry point. Very painful sitting through this, but what I'm seeing is exhaustion buying, bearish divergence, and then this is test back up to 24. This will be some kind of flush signal on better momentum here, and blue professional bars at the highs. So we're just kind of testing the highs. This last push up, so we've now had it pull back to under trend on the 500 tip bar chart, starting to roll over. Good. And this last kind of push up, first of all blue professional bars, and then the second push amateur up bar. So what I'm playing, so what was it, 10:48 AM, playing that this is all these cyclical turns, bang bang bang, that finally we break into a trend move, and we've had exhaustion buying at the highs, and each time it's a lower high kind of being made, and eventually this line in the sand down here at kind of 18 gets broken. That's the theory, at least. Let's see, still holding short. Rambo pattern, finding a little bit of support. Cyclical resistance kind of come in here, and we got that due on 15 at some point as well. So there we go. Flush just went off on 45. There we go. So it'd be nicer if this was closer in terms of a cyclical turn on 45. Be unusual if that didn't kind of play out at that stage. So maybe we're going to have another little bit push back until it rolls. Let's see, still holding short. Alright, well, I've been sitting on this trade for hours. It's 12:40 PM Chicago time. And the last test back up, 1500 tip bar chart, all these Rambo patterns came in. Here at resistance, bearish divergence. After we bounced, now we're coming through, breaking support, going for a real run to the downside. 4500 tip bar chart, there's a cyclical turning point. You can see all these amateur up bars heading into that point. Flush signal, bearish divergence, rolling over, blue fractional bars. So that could be selling the break short. And the 500, there are two Rambo patterns. Weak buying, just rolled over. We're breaking through support here, so we're in a downtrend, hitting exhaustion at the moment. But still got my target at 1175 from ages ago. But finally, this thing has kind of come to life. So let's see where it goes. Move my target to 15.25. Let's see if we can just get taken out on a little bit of a flush down here. Hope. Yep. Just went really quiet there for a second, so. No, it didn't get taken out there. Bingo. Just out 15.25. So that was good. 15. I think that's 6.5. Which only just puts me ahead for the day, unbelievably. But anyway. Reason for getting out there, flush signal here on a 500 tip bar chart. We'll have a bounce from here after exhaustion, bullish and flush, so could well see it to a pullback in a downtrend, and then end of trend on 500 here. Flush signal on 15, blue professional bar coming down here on 45. So good. Well, that's taken hours, 12:50. So it's been about 2.5 hours. Finally, gone long 16.25, and the reason for going long, this last move down on the 500 was amateur down bar kind of testing here. So I'm just going to change my target to 18.25, just for 2 points, just because I'm hoping to get just a little bounce to a pullback and a downtrend on the 500. We're kind of overdone here, potentially support coming on the 45. So that's all I want to see, and then just take 2 points and be done. It's out 17.25 for 1, which is fine. I was hoping to get a little bit more pullbacks, kind of in a downtrend coming on the 500 tip bar chart. We just maybe it is going to go. Just looked like it was resting there for a while. There's more kind of risk that it'll go pull back to end of trend on the 500, and all I wanted to get was this little bit of a bounce here. So yeah, okay, exhaustion buying, interesting. So Rambo pattern into exhaustion buying, yeah, it's kind of a good time to maybe go short. Just seen all this kind of divergence activity, so this is kind of stopping this move. So 16.25. So all of a sudden market wants to break down again. We've had exhaustion buying, bearish divergence coming on the 500 tip bar chart. On 15, we've not seen exhaustion selling. We did see flush signal here, but we're at minus 5,000. I think we're going to break to new lows, and on 45 we're at support, so that's why we held, but this thing's rolling over. Could easily just break through the support level at 15 and just keep going, so worth a go, I think. Blue professional bars kind of coming in. They really need to hold it here and make a double bottom of it, or it's going to go. So short 16.25. Here we go. Broke through 15s. Now down at 14s. Target's at 12. Minus 12. Wow. 1500. That's big. And that's extreme as well. So fast approaching. 12.25. A little bit of buying's just come in. Come on. Bingo. Out 12.25 for 4. Boy, that was quick. There we go. Minus 16,000 on better momentum. That's huge on that time frame. Look at that. Wow, that just gave way. It's keeping going now. 12s, 11s rather. See how big that reading is. It's kind of what we had at the end of yesterday. Good. Well, it needs to find a bottom from this. We're in downtrends on the 515. And there's that blue professional bar kind of falling through the ice and support here. All set up from this flush signal, all these amateur up bars into 23 to 24, turning over, bang, just rolled over, just really weak. Excellent. Finally, some good news today.